Good day and welcome to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami Hill Thomas. Excited to have you join me today as we grow together, the one human race, to make this planet a better place. I offer greetings to all of my viewers worldwide. Today, we're going to discuss many global and national issues, and we're also going to bring it right home so that we can connect and grow together. Um, when we start our discussion today, we want to focus on our brothers and sisters in Canada and those across the world who are being affected by those wildfires. We shared the breaking news a few shows ago that the wildfires had increased at magnitude rates that were combing multiple down across the state, many states and the country of Canada. So much so that now the winds by every meteorologist are affecting those of us in the United States. If you were in the city of New York, you couldn't see the skyline because the smoke was so great. Even those as far south as the Washington, D.C. area and into the southern states, as far as Atlanta, had to deal with the fogginess and the overcast. So today we want to take a minute and send our heartfelt thoughts to our Canadian brothers and sisters dealing with the immediate effects and those states and our states up north, our United States, that are on the border that get the smoke as well. We want to always equip and elevate you. So we want to share some education today on how to help handle what could be smoke you are affecting, you're living with, you're experiencing in your area. What do we do, Tammy, when we see that the sky is foggy, when we're already dealing with many pollutions, many of our elderly struggle, and our babies, right? They are our population that has to be most protected. In the United States, for the first time in many years, the code elevation went to purple. Now, we've heard of orange. That means those who deal with maybe asthma, other type of breathing diseases, or have those medical implications, had to be more careful, right? But then it affected everyone. Those folks who might not have pulled out their masks since the pandemic was declared over were wearing masks once again, limiting how much they were outdoors for your protection. In Canada, while some of the fires may have seemed to decrease, we're talking about many that are in the 20s across the country. So we certainly care about our Canadian brothers and sisters, right? And what we want to do while we offer prayer is also offer support. Remember, you can help by sending funds to the American Red Cross or the United Nations Foundation. Whatever can give you peace in thinking you're assisting those that are in countries above us or in states away from us, please feel free to. Because here's one thing to know: the Canadian wildfires were determined to have been started by natural causes. That means the grass was so dry, the planet, the area was so subject to what it could be, that lightning strikes made it catch fire, or there wasn't enough rain to put out the fire. So the area of its dryness in general helped the fires to consume everything in its path. Family, there are folks who have lost their homes. There are folks who in Canada are dealing with some real devastation. You can help. Let's bring it home a little bit though. Air quality is everything. Like I say, it affected those states that might not have been affected before in the United States. So I want to share a few tips with you really quickly, okay? During a wildfire, there's some things that you should know that can help you and your family. First of all, smoke can make outdoors very unhealthy. We often hear about secondhand smoke from someone who might be smoking near us, around us. I want to offer some things for you to consider. Make sure that during this season, you check your weather reports. Be intentional about engaging and understanding and being educated. Listen to your meteorologist. It's more than just knowing, oh, the temperature is going to be this today. Listen for the air quality. Make sure that as you're driving your car, getting that regular maintenance check, that you're getting your filter inside your car changed. Yeah, you know how you turn on that AC because you want it pumping when it's hot outside? Change your filter. It makes your car commute that much healthier for your body. Same with your home. And whether you're in an apartment or in a house, you want to change your air filter. Again, you're pumping that AC now. Or for those folks who might not have the AC and you're using the good old regular fan, still got to keep cool, right? Make sure that you take an opportunity to wipe and clean your fan. If you notice that you bought it and it was white and it's turned gray, family, whatever's blowing is what you're breathing in. Make sure that you take the opportunity to prepare yourself so that what you're breathing in doesn't over the years, it might not affect you right now, but it can cause problems over the years. Many folks have heard of COPD, right? Or asthma, bronchitis, those different lung diseases. What you do now can help. So once again, make sure that you're checking for the outdoor unhealthy air quality. Your life is too important, and so is your family. One of the reasons that I shared a minute ago that New York you couldn't see is because of the thickness of ash and smoke that was blowing down from Canada directly through a current. That's why sometimes we get really cold air at certain times. It comes through that wave from Canada. Now, if Canada's experiencing wildfires, or as they are, this is actual factual information, then it's going to go through that same jet stream, which is why we're experiencing the increase that we are. Family, consider making sure that you do things that can help you. Let me give you just a few more tips, okay? Um, Wipe your face more often. Make sure you're wiping off the baby's faces. Think of it this way. During flu season and the pandemic, we were very cautious about what we inhaled. And before the pandemic, the flu season was a big thing that we needed to take care of. We needed to make sure that because it floats in the air, what we were breathing in, we were conscious of. So while you continue to carry your mask, when you go to doctor's offices, there's little things you can do in your home. Consider wiping off your shoes, leaving your shoes at the front door, just like you would during the spring season when the pollen is thick and everybody's sneezing and coughing. It's because it's in the air. The tips that we want to share with you today are about being aware of unhealthy air quality and what you can do to help you and those little people and the seniors that are in your life that we love so much. Wipe your face, wash your hands as soon as you come in the door. Wipe the baby's face and hands. Takes the pollen off, helps to remove any impurities from outside, right? Now, you'll notice I didn't just say sanitize. Sanitizer is great, but you can't breathe. Sanitizer. You're not going to sit there and inhale it. So what we want to do is protect our lungs. Because here's a fact, family. The lungs you have right now are the ones you're going to have in 20, 30, 40 years. You need them to pump just as hard and be as pure as possible. So check your meteorologist in the morning and what they're saying about the weather. Make sure that you're listening for those unhealthy air quality tips, and then do the things that's in your ability to do. Get your filter changed when you get that oil changed. Have the maintenance come and change if you're in an apartment, your air filter. Even if you have that wonderful mortgage and your own home, make that journey to Home Depot, Lowe's, where Walmart, they sell them everywhere. And Amazon can ship them to you if you're not going to stores. Family, we want to do what works for you, but we need you here listening to this network in the next few years. So take time now and practice what will help you be the better you. As we again send our prayers and thoughts to our Canadian brothers and sisters who are still enduring and rebuilding because many of them have experienced loss. Consider how you can help. Make a donation to the American Red Cross or seek insight and information from the United Nations Foundation. United Nations Foundation touches globally all of the disasters. They partner with grassroots agencies so that we can all come together. Your hand, listen, there's a lot of folks that say, Tammy, all I have is $10. I don't have a lot of money. Do you know how $10 can go far in other lands? And let me put it on your doorstep. I've been broke at times, and I'm going to use that word because that literally meant I had no cash. Somebody showed up to my door with a $10 bill. Woo, let me tell you how that might have made my day. Might have been able to feed the babies or put gas in the car. Do something that I needed help with in that moment. My point is, what's small to you might be amazing to someone else. So don't count your donation as too small. And family, it's a tax write-off. Uh-huh. So make sure that whatever you do, we're not just people who say, I'll pray for you, but we are people of action that help other human beings because one day you'll need help yourself. The American Red Cross is there right now that can take your donations to help those across the United States that might have been impacted by any disaster. So feel free to offer whatever support. Listen, and let me help folks who say, I don't have money. I can't offer cash. That's okay. We're talking about the American Red Cross, who at this moment is seeking blood donations. They're seeking donors who can help with those when you rush to the hospital and have to have surgery and you need a transfusion. That blood came from somebody. Consider how you can save lives. Do you know that one donation can save at least 7 lives? And in the African American community, we're very deficient in blood donations. In our Hispanic Latino community, we're very low on those who step up and decide to donate blood platelets. So you want to help? We're here to tell you and educate you on how you can care for you in your home, in your car, in your neighborhood, and take this information and share it so that you can help someone else. And then family, what can you do to be the best powerful you and make a difference? There's more to come. While you're thinking about what we've shared, stay tuned because there's more after this.
Hey, it's your girl A Love. Make sure you follow me and Pastor PG, LaShonda Robinson, on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Girl Let's Talk. And let me tell you, it's not your typical church conversation. Make sure you join us on the WIN Network.
Hey, how you guys doing? This is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner at Empower Mornings. Join me every Monday at noon to work out with Regina on WIN Network.
Welcome back to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tammy, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. One of the things that is our entire mission with this show is to educate folks and then to empower you. So let's move into some key information. I reside as a citizen of the United States of America. And one of the things that is important to know is your heritage. So, what we want to remind you of today is how you've got to make sure that you know where you come from, what your ancestors experienced, and ensure that the legacy, your children, grandchildren, those you coach, the young folks you mentor, if you're a teacher, how you can pour that knowledge into the next generations because they then carry the information and share it with the next generations. One of the great things about your legacy is that you come from some amazing DNA. Come on, somebody. Your stock is so powerful that hundreds of years of people birthed into a new ancestry to make you you. Do you know? Have you taken the opportunity to not just learn, but accept where your roots are? I, for example, have roots and come from different ethnicities and backgrounds. I come from Polish American descent, Polish descent, Native American descent, the Native Indians that were here before Christopher Columbus arrived, and African American, my African ancestry that comes from that great continent. Um, but it took time to really understand that I've got to know what makes me me. Today, we want to celebrate a federal holiday and bring recognition and honor to those who have helped us be the best us possible. Because if you think about it, you stand on the shoulders of someone. Somebody made a path, fought for you to have rights to do certain things. That's one reason why voting is so important. It's not just so that you do your civic duty, but it's because there were individuals, Black and white and Native Americans, who died just for us to have the right. We stand in the path of greatness. And so while folks who might not have been in that state of mind in those generations before us endured so much just to get us here. I want to share this thought. I shared that I'm of African American descent. African descent. Well, the history of the fact that my ancestors were enslaved on a boat brought from Africa to America to work for the purpose of being slaves, for the purpose of doing the work to build this United States we currently live in, has a hard reality check. At the same time, it makes me so proud. It makes me proud because it reminds me of the resilience and endurance and pride that they took to not just accept the enslavement, but then rise out of that for greatness. Come on, somebody. What I need you to hear of is what made you you comes from so many different areas. The native Indians that were here that took pride in in this continent, in the North American country, we'll call it. They took pride in their land and fought for it. It's part of my legacy. And when I think about the battle of Sitting Bull, how they stood to try to fight for their land, it hurts to think of the heaviness and the death toll. But at the same time, I pull the resilience and the pride that I have the same fight in me. Family, I'm sharing my story because it's important that you remind yourself and take pride in where we come from. I also mentioned that I'm of Polish descent. My grandfather is white, in other words. So I take time and pride in the Caucasian American side that my grandfather and great grandfather and that side of my lineage shares the stories of. Let me bring it home for a second. At the time when they were wed, It was not, it was frowned upon during the civil rights movement for a black man and a white man to be, a white woman to be together. For a white man, pardon me, and a black woman, there we go, to be together. Frowned upon by society. But did that stop them? I've got to tell you, I'm proof it didn't. My dad, my dad and his wonderful fight that he talked about during his civil rights movement, being the first black man who took that federal job and who had to take the abuse and the what people had to say. He didn't quit. He went to work every day. He produced a wonderful family and tells us stories about what he had to face. And you know what? I have a choice. I can say, Dad, I don't want to know that. That's so wrong. I can't believe they did that. Or I can say, Dad, tell me what you encountered. I want to hear your stories. I want to know what that was like. I want to tell my kids and my grands and the great grands to come so that they can take pride in hearing you and in knowing that their great grandfather stood. And so that gives the power for them to stand. Do you see what we're trying to share today? A lot of times, the difficulties in life and the opinion of society can have a way of swaying us back and forth. Should I? I would have. Could I? What we want to remind you today is that you have the power to stand for what's right in the face of what's wrong. You have all the DNA in you to be that fighter and that voice that your ancestors were. This month, we celebrate a federally declared holiday. It's called Juneteenth. And the reason it's important is the Emancipation Day celebration of Juneteenth is because slaves were finally set free in the Confederate States. If you'll notice, it was in the year, it was June 19th, 1900. So in January 1st, let me give some history, 1863. The enslaved and freed African Americans came together because that was when they were awaiting the news that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. However, the news had not shared all the way down to those who were in the Confederate States of Texas. I'm just sharing history. This is not what Tami made up, but I'll tell you why I'm proud of it in 1 second. See, the Emancipation Proclamation signed was to free all slaves. However, even though it was made into effect in 1863, the Union had not released, the Confederacy, had not released 250,000 enslaved people. 250,000 of our ancestors. Could have been my great auntie, grandma, could have been your great cousin. They were still enslaved in Galveston, Texas. But let me give you the good news of Juneteenth, because that was when 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, to inform the individuals of the Emancipation Proclamation and their freedom. Now, those individuals, the slaved family members of ours, had to make some choices. Did they take the easy route and say, well, I'm good right here. This is all I know. I'm just going to stay. I thank you for the news. Or did they say, thank goodness I'm free. Let me find a way to make those who are coming from me, my legacy, the children that will be birthed out of my womb or out of our family, out of our unions, and make it better for them. I'm a witness today, and so are many of you, that most of them made the latter choice. They decided to take their freedom, go to northern states where many African Americans were already free, and build lives and towns and legacies that help us thrive. Now, our history is dark in many places. The reality, as I shared, of the Battle of Sitting Bull, or many battles that the native Indians fought just to preserve their land. And for the African Americans that did create cities that were thriving, dealt with, for example, the Tulsa Massacre, where they were known as the Black Wall Street. And because of the voice and actions of hate, had to deal with the entire cities being burned down. If you do your research, there's some lakes in many African American thriving towns because the dams were released that flooded many of our cities. Family, this is what we want to do with this education. Get you thinking about your heritage and your history, and then accepting this is where we come from, and building that pride, resilience, and sharing that information. As you deal with life's tosses and turns, as you deal with those diagnoses and the job layoffs, as you deal with the many things in life that can cause you to set back, or even as you deal with folk, because people are something else. We just want to share this information to remind you of the greatness that you come from. The fact that no matter what the dark days were, you're still here, which meant that those ancestors continue to stand in the ashes, continue to build in the moment, continue to fight, and many of them became trailblazers, just like you might need to be. So take this information and this energy. Take the fact that, what did they say? Yes, I'm Black and I'm proud. Take whatever your legacy, your lineage, your heritage, and share it with those little people around you so that they understand that there will be tough, dark days ahead. Oh, yeah, because if you don't know your history, they say you're doomed to repeat it. And if we look at what's going on now, I think many of us see some of the hate rising again. Many of us deal with some of the racism and discrimination again. And many of us have to be the voice and stand for what's right. But family, you have the power to make a difference where you are. So as we've shared this information to empower you to go be great, which is what you've designed to do, because greatness is where you come from, we want you to stay tuned because the show brings so much more after this.
Good morning. Marshall Weeks here with you on Financial Friday. How are you doing this morning? Let's talk about Proverbs 18:21. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Some of us have been hearing that since we were little children, but I want to talk to you about that in terms of our money mindset and what we should be speaking out of our mouths, regardless of what we see. We walk by faith and not by sight. So I hope that encourages someone today. Repeat after me. I control my money. My money does not control me. I am turned into the flow of prosperity. I become richer every day. I am a money magnet. Do you believe that? Do you believe that your best days are just ahead? Do you believe that one day could make a difference? Do you believe that meeting one person could change everything? Every day we have the decision to choose. and it starts here with the tongue. So today, regardless of what happens, I want you to remember you have a secret weapon. You have the promises of God, and you have that tongue to call those things that are not as though they were. Be encouraged. You've been empowered because you should prosper.
Hey family, welcome back to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami. So glad you're joining me today. Okay, so let's jump right into our motivation moment. We've had many conversations and received feedback from viewers that ask very specific questions about how. You're saying I have to be motivated. How? You're saying I should stay encouraged. How? And I want to share that's a very real question, because every scenario is different, because every individual is different. So let's delve deeply into some how to give you some tangible practices, because it's one thing to hear, I can be great. It's another thing when you don't feel it. If you just buried a loved one, that might knock the wind out of you. So in that moment, you might not feel the greatness. But can I tell you that your purpose doesn't change because of the pressure? You're designed to still win. You have win experiences behind you. And sometimes you have to reference your wins. And then you've got the great vision in front of you and opportunities. Because if you're still here, breathing and on this planet, you still have opportunities in front of you. Consider how you have surrounded yourself with the people that can help you in those hard moments. Can I tell you, I heard many times growing up that birds of a feather flock together. It wasn't until I was much older that I really understood what that meant. It means that you are what you surround yourself with. Individuals, for example, mess with me a lot of times because I don't curse. I'm not the one that you'll find using a lot of profanity. It's just not me. Especially since I teach communication courses and I work with leaders. And it's not that I think anything about that. It's just, I had an interesting conversation with a young lady who was like, wait a minute, you don't curse at all? What if something? I found it interesting that there's even a perception about that, because I'm me and I'm good with me. I didn't think that had to be a thing. What I reminded myself of in that moment is different folks are different, and it's okay. My hair is different. My thumbprint is different. God created us all to be different. How you speak is even going to be different. I don't speak Chinese, for example, but I want to be able to relate to someone from that country. So if there's a conversation, I need to learn that conversation. But I'm not surrounded by individuals who speak that language. My point is, if you want to succeed, you've got to surround yourself with successful individuals. I shared a while back that sometimes you've got to upgrade your friends. If you're the smartest one in your group, if everybody's coming to you because you know what's going on, but you hanging back, and that's the ceiling where you're living now, what are you going to do? Just exist and bump against the ceiling? Because there's a whole world out there, a universe, an entire thing that you have no idea, because you can only operate in what your mind can understand. Break it down a little bit. I'm not a medical doctor, but I have friends that when I need to pick up the phone and ask a question, they're a medical doctor in that medical expertise. I made sure that I'm connected to someone that can give me advice. As I started to build my company, I started connecting with lawyers with financial advisors. And though I'm a mentor and an executive leadership coach, and I coach executives globally who run Fortune 500 companies, can I tell you something? I also have a mentor. I also have a visionary coach, someone who challenges me so that I can be the best me possible. See, you only live in the limits you create for you. So what we want to do is elevate your thinking. Consider what you don't know and tap into those resources. So you surround yourself with folks who know more than you. Yeah, because that's what makes you better. For example, I might be able to do my taxes, but I have someone I can consult with to make sure that as the ever-changing tax laws are changing, that I'm within the parameters within the good government. Right? Because I don't want the IRS knocking on my door auditing me. But if they should, I need to be prepared. When the same reason you go and get that annual physical is to get consultation from an expert on what I need to know that needs to change. Do I need to change my diet? Do I need to speak to a nutritionist, a dietitian? Because what I eat is what's going to make me. Do I need to change the things around me? Family, I went through a really hard battle, domestic violence years ago. So bad that when I sought expertise from an outside individual, the information I received elevated my mindset to make me think, do I have to stay here and enjoy this? Is this what love is supposed to feel like? Once I started to think differently, I made some decisions differently. And I uprooted out of that situation, realized I had the power to be loved the right way. And I even moved 5 states away to start a new life. Now, was it easy? Nope. Started from scratch. Started at the thrift stores in that new state because I wasn't balling when I moved. Started with getting my child in a new school and learning new friends. Entirely uprooted my whole life. Can I tell you how much better I am? Not just because the experience was amazing, because the people I connected with were new, but because I finally accepted I'm worth being loved. And here's the thing, I'm worth loving me first. Oh, I was a people pleaser all my life. I put folks and their opinions first before even considering myself. Can I tell y'all how bad I was? I would pay other people's rent before mine. And then, oh, I'm going to pay you back. They didn't. And now my credit is family. Sharing my story to be very transparent. That whatever you're dealing with, you're not alone. But you are what you surround yourself with. Are you connected to a community that helps uplift you, pour into you, confirm you, validate you, tell you you're beautiful in spite of how you feel, tells you, girl, let me tell you a few things. I love what you're doing. I can't wait to see how it comes out. While everybody else is saying, I don't know why you're trying to do that. You know how many people doing that? That's not worth your time. The difference is the power you have to be the best you. I want to tell you, change is not easy. And sometimes change hurts. Getting that pink slip on a job you love, had 20 years in, was looking forward to retiring from, we're going to get a pension, and they all of a sudden say the company's going under and we can't pay any pensions. Yeah, that's not easy. Having to deal with a breakup or a separation, not easy when you put your all into it and you believe it's going to be great and you believe what the person tells you and you think you're both here and it turns out you're here or at some point get here. But you have the power to surround yourself with greatness so that the greatness is shown in you. This is what we want to share and remind you of. Your life is too valuable to the earth right now more than ever. So you're not here when they say dinosaurs are here. You're not here back in the slavery days or in the civil rights movement or medieval times or all of the, World War II. You're not here during those times when your ancestors were standing and trying to figure it out for themselves. You're here right now. And with all that we just went through during the pandemic, with individuals we had to bury at the hundreds, even thousands. Why is the question? Why are you still here? Why are you the one that's still in your neighborhood? That people are still calling you saying, I just need to talk. That people still draw to the light that's in you. Why? And even when it's dark and feels cold, doesn't mean that your light can't be shown in the dark to heat up the room. I just said something right there. Family, it takes a village at times. And you're talking to somebody that people say, I stay on 1,000. Tammy, when do you sleep? Because I do so much. I had to learn to prioritize me. And to be honest, I learned that the hard way. After I was in intensive care for a week looking at the ceiling, letting folks jab me at will, it becomes a very humbling experience when you can't control you anymore. I got out of that and I said, you know what? First, I got out of it. Thank you. I got that gratitude attitude every morning when I get a new opportunity. Gratitude first. Okay, whatever yesterday was, I can't change. Let me see what I can do about today. Surround myself with the positivity I need to see. The words that say you are enough. The words that say you can do it. The words that say, yes, you can. How about this? On my mirror, it says, let them watch you win. Because I deal with so much hate, and even in my family, folks don't always support you. But I decided one day I'm going to do it if I have to do it by myself and let them watch. Since they're hating, it means they're watching anyway. How about family? Let them watch you win. The difference was I made a decision to elevate my thought process. You have the power to do the same thing. Now, I want to remind you of two things. Number one, sometimes you can't do it by yourself. The lesson I had to learn. Tap into those counselors, those coaches. Join a church, a mosque, whatever your faith is. Get connected to others that are good folks that all have vision, and get expertise from people that know more than you. The other thing is to remember, sometimes it's not meant for you to do alone. Sometimes there are other people that are part of networks that want to hear your story. They want to hear the hard journey because they're going through it too and might need somebody to walk with. Come on, family. You're here, and usually, most of the time, God has us here for more than just what we see. It's to make an impact in the world. We hope that this motivation moment has uplifted you, that my transparency and reality reminds you that you're not alone in this battle called life, but you do have the power to win. So stay tuned as we move forward with our wrap up, because there's more after this.
Life has its way of being sweet, and life has its way of being spicy.
You did not have to hit me there.
Girl, I did not hit you.
Anywho, life has its way of being hard, and life has its way of being easy. Join us every second Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time,
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
at the We Empower Network. Tune in to the Sweet
and Spicy
Podcast. Hope to see you there.
Bye.
Hi guys, it's Tina Wynn, your host of the podcast You See Me. I want you guys to stay encouraged, continue to come out and see me, and most importantly, see yourselves. Remember, the only way that you can truly enjoy life is to see other people so that you can enjoy the beauty of seeing yourself. Come join me Saturdays at 4 on the We Empowered Network. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Power Up. We're so glad you joined the ride today. As we prepare to wrap up our show, we want to again send our thoughts, prayers, and support to our Canadian brothers and sisters fighting wildfires. All those in the United States who have been impacted by the air quality of those wildfires, who already endure a lot of possible diseases or health care issues. We want to encourage you to take care of you. Information is power. Check your weather reports. Make sure you're really looking for how the air quality is, especially if you care for our wonderful, elderly, wonderful, seasoned family members and the babies, the children who might not have that strong lung capacity. If you know that you deal with asthma, for example, please make sure you take that inhaler with you everywhere you go. You want to make sure that you're prepared during these summer months and throughout the years, as long as our Canadian brothers and sisters are fighting these fires and we're dealing with the disasters across this planet Earth. Remember, you can make a difference. Feel free to donate to the American Red Cross money and go give blood. That we need to be able to help our communities. Because again, remember, if you're ever run into the hospital and need that transplant, need that transfusion, need blood donations in any way, someone was selfless to donate for you. Consider how you can save a life today. Also, we took an opportunity to remind you of how important your heritage is. Knowing where you come from, accepting everything that makes you great, all the DNA that's in you. Yes, there's ancestry.com and those places where you can do research to get pinpoint where you might have come from if you come from another continent, what your ancestor history might have been, especially since those of us that are of African American descent, for example, only know what history tells us here to a certain date. Many of us don't know our official African names in Africa. We don't have the official birth certificates from our ancestors who were bought over and served as slaves to help build this amazing country we get to endure today. I love every one of those who shed their blood, sweat, and tears just for me. You have the power to make sure that knowledge is what you transfer to the young folks around you so that they take pride and then they share the knowledge to the ancestors ahead, to the legacy ahead. Family, it's okay. It's something we have to accept. Like, right? We can't change yesterday, but you have the power to change right now and the future. So own it and embrace it. And then come on, let's do something about it to make our ancestors proud. That great cloud of witnesses that has your back. Those who have gone on before us. Come on and carry your DNA forward and make sure that the young folks embrace it and do the same. We also took time to honor Juneteenth because it is a federal holiday in this United States of America. And the fact that there are still individuals who are where we have to be the voice, where we have to continue to trailblaze, where we have to be the difference. Remember, we equip you here, educate you here, and empower you to elevate. As we wrap up, we want to salute our fathers. The upcoming holiday is Father's Day in this United States of America. We want to share to our fathers around the world. First, a tribute to those who are our ancestors who have gone on, because we come from a seed of some type that was a male. And we want to thank and think about those who have gone on before us. We take the honor to remember, to share, to look through those pictures, to sit the kids down and say, this was great granddad. He loved to fish. This was this uncle. He served in the military. He was so proud to be able to do this and take an opportunity to share the information of those who make you you. And then to those dads, those uncles, those male cousins, our male neighbors who are around us. Do you know that just saying Happy Father's Day, sir, gives pride on another level to a male? See, males are designed a little bit differently. I love sharing this thought. Males tend to have the ego, while women tend to have the emotion, right? My husband can bring me flowers and say, I love you. And I just feel all, ooh. And in turn, I call him Big Daddy and make sure that he feels like he's the man of the house. Come on, y'all. I just told y'all too much information about what goes on in the Thomas household. But when we think about honoring our men who feel the ownership of protecting the family, how many of them were the first one to the door when somebody knocked? How many of them are the ones we call when something feels uneasy? How many of them are the ones we call when you see a bug or something outside? Our men feel that ownership to protect the girls, to protect the women. And I'm forever grateful. Our men feel the ownership to provide. Our ancestors, if you think about the men in your life, how many of them went to work? How many of them did the manual labor? How many of them were the construction workers with the heat on their back? How many of them were the farmers? We eat every day. Thank you to the farmers. How many of them go out on the boat and are the fishermen that do all the catches to come back in and bring all the food back so that our towns can eat? Those are our dads, our brothers. They're our uncles, our cousins, and they deserve gratitude. So on the Power Up, we want to say thank you. Thank you to every male watching. Whether you're a dad or a dad to be, or maybe you're the dad role model. My husband is so wonderful because we have a blended family, and he treats my kids just like they're theirs. We don't have, listen, a division of yours versus mine. You know why? Because they're still hitting the same bank accounts when they need money. We come together as one family. It's one love. So he's learned my kids and how to embrace them where they are, the same way I have adored his children. Dads have a different makeup. And many of them, because of the ego that comes with the pride factor, just want to know they're appreciated. You know, when I coach men, how many of them say, you know, if my wife would just say thank you every now and then, man, I could run to I'll get 3 more jobs. Do you know how many of them tell me? How many of them I do couples counseling with? And they just say, all you do is spend money and ask, and I just feel like you don't even see me. I'm just here to do everything for you. How many of us take the time to pause and recognize our men? Well, today we want to do that. I often hear the joke from men that say, oh, Father's Day is nothing, but Mother's Day, I'm spending money. I got to make sure mama's right. And restaurants are packed tight to take mamas out. Do we put the same attention and gratitude into the fact that men do make a difference? And to those whose fathers might have gone on before, we want to share a big hug with you because we remain sensitive that this could be a very difficult day. But can I encourage you with this? Find a way to turn your tears of sadness into tears of joy. One of the great things that was about Dad, about that favorite uncle who raised you? What were the great things and experiences? What was his favorite color? How about wear that on Father's Day? Every time you encounter somebody, talk about them. Let them know how wonderful they were. Share that experience, because our words are seeds of life. And the more you speak joy, the more that joy bubbles up inside of you. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to make the first step. Healing is a process. No one can just get over. Bereavement takes years, and for some, a lifetime. And the expectation that, oh, you need to get over it is not something we need to share, because sensitivity and empathy are what makes love an action word. So we give you a big hug if your dad is not with us, if that favorite uncle is not here. But find a way to celebrate their life this Father's Day. And to all the dads watching, whether you feel appreciated, recognized, like folks care about you, we understand. This show here, we're going to stop just to tell you thank you. And I want to share this from a woman's perspective. Yeah, we apologize. Sometimes we get so caught up with the kids and with the bills and that we work jobs too, and with the demands, babe, I need you to pay, I need you to pay. And we forget to say thank you. Being very real. It takes being intentional and a practice to say or show gratitude. And I've had to learn to start with that. Hey, babe, good to see you. How was your day? Before I slam him with everything else. All right, let me let you know what happened. Because life is full of stuff. We can't stop it. We deal with it. But to all those dads, we want to tell you how much we appreciate not just the fact that you help produce the earth, that you help continue to bring generations of greatness, but that your history matters. Your story is important. Where you came from, you look at where you're going, and we're excited to celebrate your life with you. Happy Father's Day. Happy Uncle's Day to folks who raised the kids. Happy dad, in-law, dad, whatever your role is. Coaches who are dads to kids that might not have a father in their life. If you have that favorite coach, because maybe you didn't have your dad, maybe your relationship might be broken with your dad, but there was some male in your life who helped to show you a few things. This moment is meant, as we wrap up this powerful segment, to remind you, family, of the greatness and potential and power that you have at hand. The Power Up, where we equip, educate, empower, and elevate, is all meant just to take this hour to remind you and pour into you, whoever you are, that you have the power to make a difference where you are. Just because yesterday wasn't so well, didn't feel so good, doesn't mean today has to. In fact, how about you plan for an outstanding tomorrow? Family, thank you for joining us today. We hope that this segment was helpful and enlightening to uplift your purpose and add perspective. We look forward to seeing you. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining the Power Up. See you next time.